Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to my replay viewers. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to those who are joining. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. Let me introduce myself. My name is Choma. I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse now for over 6 years. My background is in medical, surgical, and telemetry nursing. I am the founder of Choosing Nursing over at choosingnursing.net, where we help you to successfully transition into the nursing field. So thank you to those who have joined in, Apostle Reed, Live Love Bree. Thank you to those who have joined. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So as you see, I call this what are the different types of nurses. So on Mondays and on Wednesdays, at this time, which is 12:30 Pacific Standard Time or 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, I come on and I give some information to those, hey first timer, I give some information to those who are either aspiring nurses or thinking about becoming a nurse, you're in nursing school, you already are a nurse, whatever it is, just to give you, or if you're just, curious, that too, and just to give you some more information about nursing. Hey, welcome, Sister Love. God bless you. I'm glad to see you on here. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And so I'm going to clarify for you in case you're not familiar with or you don't have a really good understanding of what nurses do or what their role is, especially if you're thinking about nurse. Oh, you're in a nursing program? Well, wow. Well, I'm glad to see you on here. It's called HOSA? Okay. Awesome. I'm glad to see you on here. This is wonderful. So I'm going to talk about the just like a brief overview of the the 4 different types, and then what you should know a little bit about each of them. You're welcome. Okay, so if you could invite your followers, if you could share, that would be great. So that way I can continue to share this with more information, with more people. And then also the hearts, I appreciate your hearts. It lets me know that you are alive and that you're there. Okay, so the first one, okay, so there's 4 different groups. Okay, the very first one is the CNA. Okay, CNA, does not require you to have a license. A CNA, the other name for CNA is a nursing assistant. Welcome, Apostle Jackson. CNA is certified, is called certified nursing assistant. And what a CNA does is that they assist the nurse. So as a CNA, they handle the type of roles they handle involve hygiene needs. They help to make sure the room is clean. They assist the patient to the bathroom. They take care of the patient's hygiene needs. They keep track of how much they're eating, when they go to the bathroom. They do things like that. The CNAs can work in hospitals and they can work in nursing homes. Primarily, that's usually where CNAs are. And the salary, it depends on the state, but I'm gonna give it to you from beginning from the very bottom, working the way up. So CNAs are the lowest salary. And your mom is a CNA, awesome. CNA are the lowest salary, and typically, like I said, you just need a certificate. You don't need to get a license, and you can just do a CNA program. I believe all that's really required is a high school diploma. There may be some that actually are, I don't think so though, but as far as what I know, you just need a high school diploma, and then you just do a certificate program, and it's not usually very expensive. It's, it's pretty affordable. There's so many out there. There's so many CNA programs you can do, honestly, and it doesn't take very long. Some of them can be 6 weeks, some of them can be a couple weeks. It just depends on which school you're going through or which program you're going through, but it's just a certificate. It's very short. Okay, so that's what CNA does. Then the next one is a LPN or LVN, and this stands for Licensed Practical Nurse or Licensed Vocational Nurse. Okay, and the role of an LPN is not the same as an RN. Okay, but the LPN and the LVN, same title though. It's a little bit higher than the CNA, and so the LPN or the LVN, they're required to get a license. So they're required to go to nursing school, and they're required to get a license. The only thing is, like, their program is usually substantially shorter. On average, with a high school diploma, it's about 18 months. So after 18 months, you can be a licensed nurse. Some of the things that they can do, they can give medications, but the thing though that makes the LVN, the biggest difference is that LVNs cannot give anything via IV. So intravenously, that's not within their scope of practice. Technically too, it's not within the scope of practice for the LVN to assess. It's really the RN that does the overall assessment, but usually in the hospital setting, the LVN just is still, you know, making sure, asking the patient if they need something, assessing their overall total care needs. They just can't give anything IV. And the LVN primarily, the things are shifting now, but you'll see more LVNs and LPNs working in nursing homes and working in home health setting environments. But there are LPNs that still work in the hospital, but I'll be honest, things are really shifting now, especially with the healthcare system, where you see less and less LPNs and LVNs in the hospital. So it's because things are just shaped, it's really changing the healthcare. So it's really recommended as an LPN that you upgrade and go get your RN, because things are changing, and it kind of limits the amount of opportunities that you can have. Now, I don't know what the salary is on the East Coast, but usually on average for an LPN in the hospital setting in California, it's about $20 per hour. That's usually like around there. That's their average paying rate is. And for some people, they can be very content with that, which equals, I believe, I want to say like 40 grand a year. That's usually the annual salary, and this is without overtime. But there are LPNs that actually make 6 figures, but they do something different. One of the things that you can do as an LPN is that you can start your own, with experience though, you can start your own home health practice, your home health business or something. You can do something with home health. You can, if you work a number of hours, you can make a significant salary as an LPN, but you have to work pretty hard, and home health has to be, that's your priority. And it may take time to get a job as an LPN, but that's usually what it is. And on average, it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's easier to pass the LPN exam than it is the RN exam. There's a lot of nurses who say that the LPN was so easy, but when they got to the RN exam, they struggled a lot more. So some people like to do LPN first because it's only 18 months, and then they can, and then plus it's not as expensive to go to get your education. Some people prefer to do that. It's just all up to you. Okay, then the next one is, and like I said, those are usually the specialties that LPN is limited to. The next one is RN, registered nurse. Now, the thing that you have to be aware of when it comes to being a registered nurse is that you can go through more than one route, but one of the routes is called associate's degree, and the other route is called a bachelor's of science in nursing degree. An associate's degree means that you go through community college. You go through, a college setting, a community college setting. And on average, it's so much more cost effective, but the program is usually more impacted because it's more cost effective. Because it doesn't cost as much. So there's ADN route, and then the other option is BSN route. Every program is different. Some of them are accelerated, but personally for me, to get my BSN, it took 5 years. So usually that's what you'll see. It takes a longer time to get your BSN. To get your ADN though, it usually can be it's a 2-year college, so you still have to do your prerequisites. So do your prerequisites and everything, and then and then 2 years you go through the program. So on average, you can finish in 4 years with the ADN or less, depending on the program. So the thing about the RN, about being an RN though, so many opportunities are available to you. It really amazes me how much of a need there is for nurses. I'm telling you, I'll get every week, I don't respond to them though, but I'll get emails of all these nursing jobs that they need. And I'm surprised. I was even checking my email this morning, and I was surprised to see some nursing jobs. It sent me like a list of all the states where they need nurses to work at, right? Oh, that's a great idea. Yes, absolutely. Be a travel RN. That's a really, really good role to walk in. And I was surprised, and I saw all of the opportunities they needed all across different states. And it wasn't as if like just a couple jobs. I was looking through, and it was like, okay, they need 76,000 jobs in Ohio, or they need 10,000 jobs, nursing jobs right here in Texas. It's just there's such a great need for nurses. It's amazing. So there's never going to be healthcare. People are always going to be sick, unfortunately, right? So healthcare is always going to be needed. So honestly, nursing is and what's the word I'm looking for? An economy proof kind of job. It's very secure. It's very, very secure. Like it's not hard to get a job. Like once you get the experience, and it's not like you'll always be fine. Like really, unless you just you'll always be good, because there's such a shortage. There's such a need for nurses and RNs. The beautiful thing about being an RN is that you have a huge spectrum of what kind of nurse you can be. You can be a travel nurse. You can be a labor and delivery nurse. You can be a nurse that works in the operating room only. You can be a nurse that only works with patients with kidney problems. You can be a nurse that works with babies. You have so many roles, so many opportunities available to you as an RN, as just a registered nurse. So that's one of the wonderful things about RN. And then you can travel. You can travel. And it will be paid for. I'm telling you, there's actually a video where it's called 7 Reasons Why You Should Become a Nurse. 7 Reasons Why You Should Become a Nurse. And I put that in that video. Yes, so many possibilities. It's amazing, especially it's very accommodating, especially if you like to travel, or if you're somebody that moves a lot, or even if you just think about your children, especially if you have children, it's very accommodating. You don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, like I don't know if we're gonna be able to pay for X, Y, and Z. You're fine. Like you can, if you wanted to. And the thing that's amazing about nursing, especially if you get, like, let's say you're married and your husband, or other way around, I'm not suggesting, assuming anything, but, or the other way around, your husband gets a job. Let's say you're in Texas and now your husband gets a job in Virginia. Well, as a nurse, especially with your RN, it's not going to be hard for you to find a job once you move over there with your husband. You just have to be willing to do it, obviously. But it's not hard. Like in fact, they'll probably before you even get there, people will be calling you. So that's the beautiful thing about it as well, about being RN. You have so many unlimited opportunities. Like I said, RN, it can vary how long, 4 years to 5 years. And this is including the prereqs. Usually the program itself is 3 years. If you can take less time to do your prereqs, that's great. But it varies though for every person. And some people it takes them longer to get their RN because, life, and then they just take their time. I knew somebody who it actually took them 7 years. 7 years to get their RN. And this is because, they were doing it part-time. But, it's all about what you allow yourself to do, So that's the next one. Now the next thing, and what I should say too about RNs, absolutely, I will answer questions. Absolutely. One thing I should say too about RNs is that the salary, I don't want to say it's not unlimited, but it can go pretty high. Like it can start off as little as 50 grand a year to all the way to, there's some nurses that make 250 grand per year, depending on the location and then depending on the hours that they work. But there are nurses that make that high working in the hospital. So that's how it, varies. Or working in the hospital, working in, usually it's the hospital, to be honest. So working in home health, it can really vary. Okay, the next one is nurse practitioner. Nurse practitioner, or NP. So a nurse practitioner, so once you get your RN, now you have to go back to school again to become a nurse practitioner. And as of right now, it may change later, it takes 2 years to become a nurse practitioner. After After you become your RN, it takes 2 additional years to become a nurse practitioner. And you still have to take a exam, once you graduate. I forgot the name of the exam is, but you still have to take your exam when you graduate from NP school. And the beautiful thing about being, oh good, okay, that's really good. The beautiful thing about being a nurse practitioner is that once again you can specialize, and it's literally as if you're a doctor, but from a nurse's perspective. And you can prescribe orders. You no longer have to be the one taking orders. You can prescribe orders. And I'm telling you, once you, and when you work as an RN, it kind of prepares you to be able to do that. Because honestly, when you start working as an RN first, and then you want to become an NP, you already know the orders. Because you got so used to it, and plus you know the patients because you have a nursing background. So even like, for example, if your patient comes in and you worked in the hospital setting, and you have a patient that comes in, and then they come in and they say, okay, I'm having problems breathing, I'm having chest pain, I have an infection in my lungs, blah blah blah, whatever. So then okay, I already know I'm gonna do chest X-ray. I'm gonna start them on fluids. You already know, but being in the NP school, it kind of trains you to start thinking in that way, and it tells you exactly what you need to be aware of and that kind of stuff. So that's the beautiful thing about being a nurse practitioner. Being a nurse practitioner, the starting salary, for a nurse practitioner, depending on the area, it also, once again, it varies. There's some nurse practitioners that especially, that's why you have to specialize too. When you don't specialize, it kind of limits your income, and as well as it kind of limits your income, because there's some nurse practitioners that still only make 80 grand or 90 grand per year, depending on what area they're in. But on average, especially if you specialize, you get your certificates, all that good stuff, you should start at 6 figures. That should be where you start at. It is at 6 figures. And some of the most highest paying nurse practitioners, for example, one is nurse anesthetist. A certified nurse anesthetist is a nurse practitioner. It says that the national average says that it's 134 grand starting, but I'm aware of that there's some NPs, nurse anesthetists, that make 200K per year. So I'm pretty certain of that, because there's some that I've learned that from. And then even like I have a friend who's in New York, and she actually is a nurse practitioner as well. So it can be a very lucrative income and lifestyle. And some of them, it's gonna vary obviously with the hours, depending on the hospital that you work in. But there's some nurse practitioners where it's literally like a 9 to 5. It's literally like a 9 to 5. Or you can open up your own practice and with somebody else. There's so many opportunities. Yeah, you can open your own practice. You can collaborate with somebody else and open up your own practice. I'm not sure how the regulations are, but you can absolutely have your own office and people can come and see you. And then obviously with that role, it's like you just have to you do Medicare and all that stuff, and then the insurance company pays you, all that good stuff. But you can absolutely open up your own care. You have so many, being an NP makes it easy also to be yeah. Oh, you know what? It could also be in certain states. Absolutely. That's what you have to do. You have to research your area and see what they allow. But yeah, it could also be in certain states as well. So that's one of the wonderful things about being, honestly, a nurse. Like there's so many, and it's very easy to upgrade. It's very easy to upgrade from one role to the next. Like you can upgrade from CNA to LPN to RN, or you can upgrade from CNA to RN, or you can just straight for the RN and then upgrade to NP. There's so many programs. There's so many 1-year accelerated programs, not for RN though, but 1 year like 1 year bridge programs from LPN to RN. So many, or RN to your NP. There's so many bridge programs. There's so many accelerated programs. There's just so many. Like, it's not that I want to say it's not hard to become a nurse, but there is enough opportunities to become a nurse. That's what I should say. So that was it. I will take your question right now. Go ahead and give me a question. Okay, so this is one thing I'll tell you about if you don't pass your test. As far as here, In the United States, if you don't pass your exam, that's okay. You just have to obviously prepare again to take it again and pass. You have to wait 45 days though before you can take your exam again. And then you have to take it again, prepare and pass. But you have a certain amount of time where it locks you out from scheduling your exam again. So it will lock you out. You have to wait 45 days minimum, and then hopefully, there's procedures you have to go through, but you also get something called an ATT score, and you have a time frame when you can take your exam again and pass it. Otherwise, it expires, and then you have to do the process all over again. But if you don't pass, you can take the exam again. There's people that I met who's taken the exam 7 times, 8 times, 4 times. Obviously, that's not what I want you to do. You want to pass the first time. But if you don't pass, it's okay. You can take it again. Unfortunately, though, in Canada, it's not the same. In Canada, you only have 3 chances to take your exam. 3 chances to take your exam. So pretty much what happens is that if you fail on just be glad if you're in Canada, I'm sorry, but be glad that you're not in Canada for this reason. If you fail after the 3rd attempt, you have to go back to nursing school, and it's like everything just gets taken from you. You have to go through your nursing program all over again. That's pretty much what happens. And so if you fail after the 3rd time, you have to do nursing all over again. It doesn't matter if you lost all that money from your nursing program. You gotta do it all over again. So fortunately, here in the United States, as long as they keep it that way, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, that's fine. If you become a nurse in the United States and then you move to Canada, all you have to do. Okay, well, I'll answer your question. All you have to do is just take. Hey, Desi, thank you for hopping on. All you have to do is just get your just pay a fee to be licensed in Canada. So you just have to. So it's not hard. You just go through the board registered nursing for Canada. And bam, and you just pay the fee, and now wherever state that you go in or country you go in, you have to be licensed for that area. That's also another thing to be mindful of when you're doing traveling nursing too. But that's one thing it's not really a challenge. You just have to get licensed in that area by paying a fee. You don't have to take the exam. Once you pass the exam, you never have to take it again. That's one thing that's beautiful about it. Once you pass, you're done. You never have to take it again. You just have to get a fee for wherever you want to get licensed in. Now, somebody said something about LPN to MA. I'm supposed to be in my 3rd year of college, but I've experienced many setbacks, and I don't know if okay. I'll wait for the next part. What did somebody say about LPN to MA? I missed that. LPN to MA. Can you put that question again? I missed what that question was. LPN to MA. I'm not sure if you talk about MSN, because that's not the same. LPN to MA. If you're saying honestly, if you're saying LPN to medical assistant, I wouldn't recommend that. If that's what your question is. Medical assistant to LPN, yeah, absolutely. Because honestly, you're only going down the ladder when you go from medical. If you're going from LPN to medical assistant, you're going down the ladder. But if you go from medical assistant to LPN, that's better, because a medical assistant doesn't require you to have a license. LPN does. No, okay. So I'll answer your question. Hold on. The dream is gone, or if God is my. Okay, you know what? If you're in school right now and you're not sure if you should give up on nursing. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, let me ask you a question. I finish this one. If you're in school right now and if you're thinking about like if you should give up on nursing, honestly, I wouldn't tell you to do that. I wouldn't tell you to give up. I would encourage you to go to a hospital setting and spend like a day volunteering. And if something just touches your heart, if something just pulls at you, do it. Because I'll tell you right now, even when I was in nursing school, there were so many times I wanted to give up. I was like, oh, I'm quitting. Like, God, I'm quitting. This is too hard. I'm stopping right now. Like, I literally said that over and over again sometimes. But honestly, like, it's very worth it. Sometimes it's just like the enemy actually just telling you differently, you know? I took a break because I didn't know what to do next after I finished my prereqs. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Well, one thing I would try and, you might need to just maybe spend some time exploring it. But honestly, if something new started, I believe you should finish it. If that started in you, I believe you should finish it. I would really encourage you to, like, if you need some help, like deciding, like, okay, like if you really are passionate about nursing school or nursing period, just take some time, maybe volunteer at the hospital, or even just like I have explore all the opportunities and what their role is. Sometimes you have to see things in order to really feel it, but I would encourage you to keep trying, to believe, because if you finish your prereqs, that's you already got almost half of it out of the way, 1/3 out of the way. So now it's ready. It's time to move forward. I believe you should move forward with it. I don't think you're on here by chance. You know, I think that this is, but I even feel something confirming this right now. I don't think you're on this by chance. I believe you should keep moving forward. I believe that especially if you said that you want to specialize in OB, I believe that you should do this. I truly do. This is just me telling you right now. I'm just telling you from what I just feel, something telling me to confirm this to you, but I believe you should move forward with it. And and if you're not certain, just continue to pray about it, ask God for confirmation, continue to research it. It's okay. Setbacks sometimes you have to realize too, setbacks are just the enemy trying to hinder you. It could be it's hard, sometimes it's hard to tell, but if you pray about it, God will give you a very clear answer that will tell you, okay, do this. I know what you mean by setbacks. I've seen other people who have setbacks too, and I personally, let me tell you really quick my story. Personally, for myself, I had to apply to nursing school 3 times before I got in. 3 times. And even when I got in, I had a lot of setbacks too. I'm like, this is actually trying to get into nursing school. I had to apply 3 times. I constantly wasn't accepted. It was hard. My program was impacted. Money was tight. All those things were happening. Even when I was in nursing school, I failed one of my courses and I had to retake it again. I had a lot of setbacks, but I'm telling you, it is so worth it. It's so worth it. The setbacks are just a sign that you should keep going, honestly. Sometimes things just happen to try and confuse you, because of the hindrances, but it's because there's something that's going to be, there's an amazing promise at the end. So I would really encourage you to, continue to pray about it, continue to see God about it, and just, and trust him, and then maybe go to the hospital setting. But I think you should, I don't think you should give up. I don't think you should give up. Hey, Candy, thank you for joining. And then the person that said about medical assistant to LPN, I think that's great. Honestly though, you're so welcome. Honestly though, one thing I'll say about medical assistant to LPN is that, there's no bridge program, at least that I'm aware of. There may be, but I don't know of any bridge programs that's MA to LPN. There could be though. I haven't found any. But if you can find that, hey, good to see you. It's been a while. If you can find that, I would tell you, then absolutely take advantage of that. Because I'm not sure what type of courses that you took to get your MA, but if you can find that, that's great. I personally have not encountered that, but I think that's great. That's wonderful, actually. I'm not sure what your question was specifically about it, but I don't know of any school that has a bridge program like that. No, not yet, Candy. And then the other person that said about the yearly exams when it comes to a job and being a nurse. One thing I'll tell you is that when you begin working in the hospital setting, you do have requirements that you have to meet every year. In fact, and I'll give you an example of what they are, but you don't have to take the exam again every year. So, for example, you have to stay certified. You have to and once you have your license, you have to renew your license every 2 years, and have that license with you every 2 years. You have to be certified, whether it be ACLS, which is advanced life support, basic life support. You have to be certified in that area. You have to take whatever their what do you call it? the hospitals will have certain requirements that you have to take an exam, but it's specific to the hospital. As far as statewide, though, you do have to take you do have to have your license renewed every 2 years, and to renew it is not hard. You just pay, once again, you pay a fee, and then the other thing is that you have to get you have to have 30 CEUs, which is continuing education units. And once again, not hard. I'm telling you, it's not hard to do at all. So there's no yearly exam like as the way you're thinking about it. I'm going to be certified. I'm going to work part-time while in college. That's a great idea. When I graduate high school, I'm going to be certified. That's a great idea, and that's good. That's good. You know, that's good. That's good. Yeah, kind of like a nursing assistant. And then I think, I wasn't sure if there's somebody else had another question. I think that was all the questions. But yeah, that's a great idea. I think you should definitely do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that will really, and the good thing about that too is that it's going to build your resume. Right? It's definitely gonna build your resume, so that way, and then you'll feel more comfortable in the environment. And when you get a job, it's not gonna be as hard because your resume kind of built up. You want to have things that puts you an advantage as opposed to like especially when your application is in a pool of like 1,000. You want things that make you stand apart. So I think that's a great idea. That's a great plan. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. Okay, did anybody else have any other questions? My teacher also said that the pay will be higher than minimum wage when certified. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's what I was going to say now. When you, every hospital is changing as far as magnet status, but when you become a, what's the word I'm looking for? When you get your BSN as opposed to your ADN, the pay can be slightly higher. So depending on the hospital, they'll pay BSN nurses a slightly higher rate than an ADN nurse. So that's one advantage of being a BSN nurse. Okay, that's a great question. How do you maintain your walk with God in the hospital setting? Okay, you know what? For one thing, you have to pray before you go to work. I'm telling you, you have to pray. You really have to pray before you go to work, because it's not easy. Sometimes, some days are really hard, but you gotta pray. You have to pray before you go to work. When you're in the hospital setting, and the thing about too, where I am now spiritually is more far along than I was when I was working in the hospital setting. So if the things that I know now, based on what I know now, I probably would have prayed for more people when I was working in the hospital setting. But one thing I would encourage you to do is definitely, pray at the beginning of your shifts. Sometimes I have to pray throughout the day too, when I'm on my break, and just, God, just give me strength, Lord. Just give me strength right now, because I don't know about this person. You gotta pray before the beginning of your day. Sometimes too, when you're in the hospital, there's some prayers you can kind of detect if they are open to you praying for them. There's some where I'll say, you know what? Do you want me to pray for you? And then they'll say yes, and even if there's some even atheists that will say yes, pray for me, because they're desperate, right? Oh, really? That's awesome. My girlfriend graduated this year hospital, and she needed peds help, and she's making. You're saying she's making $39 per hour? Is that what you're saying? So yeah, I would encourage you to pray, and you can kind of pick up if they want prayer. I would also tell you too, sometimes you're going to be in a setting too where it may frustrate you sometimes, dealing with some of the type of patients that you'll deal with, and the coworkers, staff. You really need to have a really good prayer life. Oh yeah, that's good. That's very good salary. That's really, and she just graduated too. Oh, that's very good. You really have to have a really good prayer life, especially if you're going to make it in nursing. Prayer life, and on your off days, just try. Also, it's when it comes to being a nurse too, it's also a mental thing. Sometimes that's why you'll see some people will lose their minds. Oh, she's on call. Okay. You'll see some people who honestly will lose their minds or become very bitter and mean and irritable. So you just have to pray. So I used to work nights. Before. I actually started off working in working. I hope that answers your question. The last person that said, but prayer, really, prayer, and then just just prayer. Honestly, it's just prayer and just learning to, the more, when you really walk, when you really learn to walk as a Christian, okay, good, I'm glad that when you learn to walk as a Christian, you'll find how valuable it is for you when you begin working in the hospital setting. So I used to work in nights. That's actually where I first started off. Nights was challenging though for me at the beginning. I worked nights for almost 2 years when I first started off. One thing, I actually have a video about, do I have a video? I think it's either on my YouTube channel or on the website, and it's called 10 Tips to Work Night Shifts. And I just, tell you some things you can do to deal with that, because it's not easy working nights. But however, it's recommended when you first started, because it's a lot slower and you really pick up the speed, the job better, and you learn it better. But it's not easy to stay awake. That's why I tell you to start off by reading watch that video on my YouTube channel, bit.ly/chomatv, and in there I talk about that. I talk about it in more detail also on the website. So now what I do now, I'm full time, and I help nurses pass their NCLEX exam. That's what I do. I help nurses pass their NCLEX exam. So it's something that I'm very, very passionate about doing, because there's a lot of people. Welcome, come Holy Spirit. There's a lot of people who failed. I can't tell you how many emails I received. And even on a regular basis. Thank you. Yeah, teaching. So I do live teaching sessions. I do coaching sessions. I do. Eventually too, I'll do mentorship, as far as like mentoring people, period, throughout nursing. But I teach people how to pass their exam. I give them, tools, tricks, all that kind of stuff, strategies. And then I do webinars. If you want to be on my, if you're not already, join my mailing list, because on my mailing list, that's when I notify people when I'm doing things. So absolutely no. I work for myself. I've been a nurse now for over 6 years. But yeah, I work for myself. So and so I create my own hours. That's why I'm able to be on here. Yes, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Not just operating because our gifts will make room for us, right? And our gifts, our gifts are really His God's grace, right? And the way that we have the gifts, it allows us to do so many things. We shouldn't limit, what God has given it to us for us to do. Personal home health care. What's your question about that? I missed it. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I do, and that's what I really enjoy doing. I do have a book, and this will be one of many books that I'm gonna be writing for nurses. The first book, I don't have it in front of me. I didn't even think to bring it out. But the first book is called NCLEX Exam: What You Need to Know Before You Take Your Exam. So this book is ideal for people who are already in nursing school, or people who have graduated, or people who are getting ready to take their exam. Okay, all right, I'll ask you a question. Or people who have already, or think about getting ready to take their exam. And I tell people, I highlight to you what you should know before you take your exam, and what to expect once you take your exam. And so that way you know what books to take, what the exam is like, what strategies you should be aware of, what things you should pay attention to, so you can be aware of these things. Because one thing I'll tell you, like doing what I do, I've seen a lot of people who, it's 2003 and they still haven't passed their exam. It's 2008 and they still haven't passed their exam. It's 2010. It's 1994 and they failed the exam 5, 6, 7 times. So I believe by giving people information, especially beforehand, they can figure out what it is that they're doing wrong, or what it is that they need to know, so that way that doesn't happen. So that's the purpose of that book. And that book it's not in my bio, but it is on Amazon. And the link for that one is bit.ly/NCLEX Prep Book. And I just remember now, I do have an Instagram page. I have an Instagram page if you want to follow my nursing Instagram page. It's choosing_nursing. And I put, there's nursing quotes on there. There's over almost 10,000 followers on there. of like nursing quotes, like funny nursing stuff. Also article posts, that kind of stuff are on there as well. And I have there's a Facebook page called Choosing Nursing as well. So that's what I do. I help nurses pass their NCLEX exam. And if you want to learn more about me, about as far as my business, you can go to my website, which is choosingnursing.net. Choosingnursing.net. I want to be in the medical field. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's nice too. Being in when you go through things, right? It makes you want to help people who've been through what you've been through, when you and honestly, it usually makes the best nurses. Those are usually the best nurses, the ones that recognize like little small things, right, that you've been through yourself, and they can recognize that in other patients. So I think that's fabulous. I think that's wonderful, and I know you'll be a fantastic nurse. So, okay, so that was really it, you guys. I hope that answered everybody's questions. If you have another question, I'll answer it now. If not, I'll go and hop off. My videos, if you want to check out my videos, I have a lot of videos on there. Well, a lot of videos about nursing as well as healthcare and just health, period. And if you want to check my YouTube channel, it's bit.ly/Choma TV. That's my YouTube channel. But the book, though, is bit.NCLEX Prep Book. Okay, and both of my books are also available as paperback and as Kindle. You're so welcome. Thank you, Live Love Bree. I'm so glad that you're on here. And if you're not following me, make sure you follow me now so that you don't miss my scopes. I will be back on again. I'm in California. I'll be back on again as far as the nursing scope on Wednesday at the same time, which is 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. But I will be back on again tomorrow. Though. And this is what I'm gonna do my health. I figured out my schedule now as far as scoping, but I'll be back on again tomorrow for my health scope at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm gonna talk about kidney disease and kidney problems and what you should be aware of when it comes to kidney dysfunction. So that's what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow. Okay, you guys, so thank you. God bless each and every single one of you. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll talk with you guys later. Bye-bye.